Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and mainly dear friends. It's a pleasure for me to be here this afternoon to participate in this panel discussion on such a timely and thoughtful issue, namely how women make peace building better. I'd like to express my gratitude first and foremost to the Technical Committee on Gender Equality for their facilitation of this important discussion. And I would also like to warmly thank the organizers, UNFICYP's Civil Affairs Section, Jirga, Marina, and Arzu especially, Keisha, who is also there from the Public Information Section, and the Home for Cooperation for providing us with this wonderful venue tonight and for joining hands to raise awareness of the important role that women can, should, and already do play in peace building. This event is the second in a series of discussions aimed at eliminating the gender challenges in Cyprus, and hopefully will contribute to improvements in how these challenges are addressed. The first event was a thought-provoking and dynamic discussion that a number of us were in that took place on sexual violence and was held here at the Home for Cooperation in December. And I know as busy as we all are with our daily activities and mandates and commitments, it's essential that we keep gender issues high on the public agenda and that there's public dialogue about it, not only to raise awareness, but also to exert pressure on those with influence to take action on gender issues in this country. We know that women's experiences of conflict differ from men's experiences. Women are disproportionately affected by crimes like rape, sexual exploitation, and displacement. And it's hugely important for these experiences to be heard and to be addressed in peace processes. In countries like Cyprus, where guns have fallen silent, peace means much more than just the absence of violence. It means an inclusive political process, a commitment to human rights in the post-conflict period, and an attempt to deal with issues of justice and reconciliation. Research comprehensively demonstrates that the participation of women at all levels is crucial for the effectiveness, success, and sustainability of peace processes and peace-building efforts. Mediators, facilitators, and leadership in peace operations must be proactive in including women in all aspects of peacemaking. So it's front, yeah, sorry. It's kind of felt like it was going up my nose. So it looked like that, but anyway, as long as you can, main thing is if you can hear me. 15 years ago, the UN Security Council adopted Resolution 1325, which underscored the inextricable link between gender equality and international peace and security. Since then, the Security Council has adopted a number of resolutions on women, peace, and security, each of them in its own way a call to action for the international community. Under UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon has made it clear that women's leadership and the protection of women's rights should always be at the forefront and never an afterthought in promoting international peace and security. To that end, he appointed UNFICYP's own Major General Kristen Lund, who will be coming. She's actually giving another speech now, but she will be coming before the end of this evening's event. And she is the first ever female force commander to head the military component of a peacekeeping mission. The SG also appointed 5 female special representatives in UN peacekeeping missions, of which I happen to be one. And I'm glad to say that in UNFICYP, women are well represented at the senior management level in our civilian, military, and police components. And wearing my other hat as the Deputy Special Advisor of the Secretary General, I can say that in the good offices, we're also very well represented with women. In Cyprus, we've come from a situation years ago where there were virtually no female faces at the negotiating table. And we've moved to some parity. I wouldn't say that it's complete equality, but there are more women today actively involved, including as facilitators and liaisons in the peace talks. We're very fortunate to have 2 leaders, Mr. Anastasiadis and Mr. Akinci, who understand the value of having women involved in the peace process and who took in 2015 the admirable step of establishing the Bi-Communal Technical Committee on Gender Equality, which aims to ensure women's perspectives and women's rights are taken into consideration at every stage of the peace process. I'd like to make mention also of Cypriot Women's Civil Society, both Greek Cypriots and Turkish Cypriots, and their role in championing the rights of women across the island. These dynamic community-led organizations continue to mobilize around women's peace and security issues, driving the agenda forward and ensuring women's voices are not drowned out by the many other issues that compete for attention in the public domain. Despite the encouraging developments, we always have to say all the positives, but then we say there's more to do. And I'm saying that because I know we all know that that's true. We do remain far from our goal of true and equal inclusion of women in peacekeeping, peacemaking, and peace building. Women's rights and women's experiences continue to be glossed over. This is true, is vehemently true in some conflict areas today. But even in Cyprus, which is stable, this point needs to be made. Women's issues should not be marginal, they should be integral to dialogues on peace. The legal and institutional instruments exist, but we must have to move from aspiration to implementation. We need incentives and accountability mechanisms to facilitate greater inclusion of women in all areas of peace building. We need to illustrate the roles women have played to bring peace to their communities in Cyprus, because the presence of women at the field level, particularly in leadership, encourages women and girls across the country to participate and to lead. So we need to keep up the pressure in our own, each of us in our own small and large way, however we can, for women to be more fully and meaningfully included in the Cyprus peace process. I applaud the panelists that are gathered here this evening for today's discussion, for their individual efforts to bring women's issues to the forefront of peace building, as well as to all the other women and men in the audience, and we have some very distinguished people sitting in front of me, across the room, for also keeping these issues on the forefront and remaining engaged. On behalf of UNFICYP's leadership, I underline our encouragement to each of you, as well as my personal commitment to continue to call for more women to be included and engaged. Thank you.